Hello, and welcome back to Stream On. I am Hollis. With me is Eila. Hello, Eila.
Hello there.
This week, we are tackling a rather ridiculous film. It's ridiculous in the best ways. It is a horror, it is a comedy, it is cringe humor. It's cramming a number of genres in at once. It is called I Don't Understand You, and it is from this year. Did you enjoy this film?
So when I first saw it in the Hulu, those tiles where you can
Yep.
pick something, I passed it by. I don't know why. It just didn't speak to me. And then when you suggested it, I said, "All right, I can watch it. Why not?" Oh my God, I loved it. It was
Yeah.
great. I had no idea what it was going to be, which I love. I don't want a synopsis. I don't want any spoilers at all. I love going in completely blind.
I'm the same way. I like to go in fresh. I don't like anybody sticking their opinions in my ear. And I'll tell you something else. I get a chip on my shoulder when I see like a green splatter. I'm like, you know what? I don't like what most people like. I probably love all the splatters, and 9 out of 10 times it's true.
Yeah.
But I had the same thoughts. I passed it by because, and I think this is a thing that is independent of the films themselves. Sometimes the default pick or the cover, it makes it look disposable.
I know. It's such, it's like we judge it on nothing. It's like this one little teeny image, and that image is so important.
It really is. And also you're crazy if you think that like even the masters of the craft, Scorsese or Kubrick back in the day, or any of these people, if they allowed them to cut their own trailers.
Yeah.
It's like more often than not, it's just some guy who's banging out 10 trailers a day for some
Right.
freelance company to put them up on all these streaming services. So sometimes they don't even know the tone of the film. They make it look like something. They're like, oh, it's a horror. Well, it's not, but it is.
Yeah.
So,
I know. There's sometimes that I go to a movie waiting to see this part from the trailer, and it's never there.
right.
It makes me crazy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
What made you change your mind and watch this in the first place?
It's the same old game of Russian roulette every night of what we're going to watch. And before my wife and I settle on what we're going to watch, we'll put one or two in the chamber. And we're like, all right, this will be our fallback. So we watched like 20 seconds of the trailer, and I was like, all right, I don't want to know anything more about it. I get kind of the vibe. That's our fallback. And then we kept looking for something, and there was nothing
Yeah.
that could displace it outside of us popping in a DVD or a Blu-ray. So I said, okay, let's just do it. And I'm glad we did, because I like unique films. I
Yeah.
like films that just aren't like anything else. And all the time I'm saying enough already with the sequels, do something different.
Right. Well,
This
this
is
is
something different. Yeah,
different. And it's amazing that they got Amanda Seyfried to play this relatively small part because she's fantastic in everything.
she really is. I wondered, I was like, because I know she's a mom,
Mhm.
maybe she was like, you know what? 2 days filming, I get to stay home. I get to do, that's all I could. And I could think maybe she's connected to somebody. Joel Edgerton was one of the producers. Like there are people behind the scenes maybe that knows her. Andrew Rannells maybe knows her. She did him a solid. I don't know what, but you're right. Even in a tiny part, it just elevates the film.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Anyone could have played this part, but because they have her, it makes it more special.
She cries at one point.
Yeah.
She gives you the full spectrum. She's
I know.
nervous. She's weird. She's sheepish. She's crying. Yeah.
So, at what point did you know you were in with this movie? Because I am a very fast judger. If I don't like it in the first few minutes, it's off. I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah. Like in book reading, we talk about DNF. Like did not finish. I'm like you. I give it a quick pull. I like to give a film 15 minutes. I usually give it 10. Yeah. I don't know. What was your time?
Immediately. It's the tone for me.
It's the
Well,
vibe.
Andrew Reynolds for me is just so watchable. So that's an easy in. He and Nick Kroll together are great. So it was easy. It was immediate because really I won't give it as much time as you. I'll give it a few
Okay.
like 3 minutes. And if I'm not drawn in, that's it. And sometimes I miss out because I'll go back.
Well, that's why I give it the time I do.
But
The-
most of the time, I don't. I'm happy that
Mm.
I didn't, spend my time watching something that I watch so much that, sometimes it's hard to find something. So I know when I like something.
I kept watching for a reason, but I was surprising myself because I'm not a big Nick Kroll guy. I'm a John Mulaney guy.
Me too. Exactly.
I like Nick Kroll better as Faizan. What's his name? The half of Oh Hello that he plays.
Yeah.
But there was something about it, something about their vibe early on that I'm like, oh, I'm going to enjoy these characters being put through the meat grinder that the trailer promised.
See, I didn't watch the trailer. I had no idea what was different.
Oh,
I
wow. So I
didn't
got to spring this whole thing on you.
completely. And it was being surprised by what it turned out to be was amazing. I loved that.
Speaking of surprises, how excited were you when Railroad Daddy from Gilded Age popped in?
You would never know if you didn't see his face, if you just looked at the body, that is the same man.
No.
You can't tell how dedicated he is to fitness on the Gilded Age.
Yeah. And tattoos, and he's got a lot to him. But
I know.
you would just think he's some Italian actor if you never saw the Gilded Age.
100%. I mean, I'm no expert on Italian accents, but his seemed pretty great to me.
And how great a comedy was he?
Oh, well, I already knew he can do anything because
Yeah.
I've seen him in a lot of stuff and he's a stage actor,
Okay. Yeah, you
Morgan
know him
Spector
better.
is great.
Yeah.
So I was not surprised that he could handle this. But again, it's not a typical Morgan Spector part, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure. I don't think many of these parts are normal parts for people,
For anyone.
uh, or anyone at all. For the uninitiated, Nick Kroll and Andrew Reynolds play a gay couple based in Los Angeles who are on their second or third attempt at adopting an unborn baby. That unborn baby is held by Amanda Seyfried.
And they have to even be chosen.
They have to be chosen. They're one of several prospects that she's going through. None of them feel right, but this couple, Nick and Andrew, Dom and Cole, are in the home stretch. They're one of the finalists, and and this happens to coincide with the two of them going on an anniversary trip to Italy, which for some reason they don't want to let her know. I guess they want her to think they're around.
Right, because she is not that far away from going into labor, although she does eventually go into labor early. So I think they probably had time, but maybe they didn't want her to think that, it was being cut close.
Yeah, I also think they didn't want her to think we're the type of parents that'll just leave it with a nanny and go off to Europe. Uh,
Maybe. I wonder if someone that pregnant wouldn't have already chosen the parents,
it's
maybe, but okay, I'll let it go.
it's strange credulity, but they needed certain things in place.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
is possible, I mean, with all
Hmm.
the things that happen in the world, it's possible that someone could not have made up their mind.
Right, right.
But
I
you
will,
think things would have been in place.
yeah, you would think so. I will say one negative thing about the film that I got to about 25 to 30 minutes in, and I'm like, you know what? The film actually should have started around here. Not in the storyline, it should have started there, but they could have had two quick scenes prior to that. It seemed like an eternity before they headed to Italy in
Well,
the scheme.
yes, it felt like a different movie. And then all of a sudden it changed into this, like completely ridiculous
Yeah,
one, Rube Goldberg of a horror show.
right, right. I mean, I get it in that, the early part of the movie, they're establishing who they are. The roller coaster is ticking up slowly up the hill. And then they head to Italy and it suddenly goes down very quickly. But I wish the climb up the hill on the roller coaster was as funny as everything after it. So, yeah.
That's interesting, but it didn't bother me, I guess, because I was just taking it all in and figuring out what it was. Although, what I figured out was different from what it was going to be, but at least I felt like I knew who these people were by the time we got to Italy.
Right, right. I'll say this. I've seen a number of films over the years, as I'm sure you have, with the tag horror comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Very few of them live up to it. Oftentimes it'll fall on either one or the other side of the fence with the other just peppered in. This is straight up horror comedy. They don't shrink from the horror. It's bloody.
Yeah, it is. And, terrible things happen. It's not like, there's a couple of jump scares. No, really bad things happen in this movie. And, you feel very differently about these people at the end of the movie than at the beginning.
Yeah. I was going to call it a comedy of errors. It's a comedy of terrors, honestly, because and this is the way life is to a degree, so I like it. Such little tiny accidents snowball
Right.
precipitously in a way that you buy. This is the ultimate ugly American movie,
I guess so.
you
Yeah.
know? And it says something also about, I want to call them breeders, even though it's not their baby, but about parents of, children or people building a family that are so protective of the family that it doesn't matter if they drop a nuclear bomb on the rest of the country in the pursuit of protecting their little brood.
Which
Like,
they did. They decimated an entire family.
they destroyed a family. It was,
Complete family. Every member is gone.
yeah, it was like in cold blood.
Yeah.
It's just it's a whole family just massacred, and massacred by this couple with like this odd sense of manners
Yeah.
about them, where they're being so careful, and he tries giving CPR to an old woman that he thinks is dead,
Right.
and then he feels that he breaks her bones beneath him,
Really
and
funny.
that's a recurring joke, that she's so fragile that like they break different parts of her before zombie her comes back. It's really good, but they're so like, they try to be sweet about things and try to be, but the second that they think they're slighted, like they think that the old woman who's reacting to a bottle of wine that she chose wrongly it has a problem with their sexuality.
Right.
And so from that point on, their tone changes and makes everything else change. And it's the title, I Don't Understand You, just plays into every bit of horror in it.
So I have to say, I think it's a bad title for the film, even though it's fitting, but I can't remember it. I had to look it up last night. I wanted to rewatch it. I didn't get to, but I didn't remember if it's on Netflix or Hulu. It is Hulu, by the
Mhm.
way. But I had no memory of what this movie was called. It really is not a great, memorable title.
It's not. It could have done better, but I have no problem remembering it, only because when we were in college, I was a big They Might Be Giants fan, and they had this song Fingertips, and one of the little sections of it was, I don't understand you, I
Oh,
don't
so
understand you, I just can't
bad.
under. So I that plays in my head every time. Yeah, I mean, you and I could probably come up with a better title for it right now,
Yeah.
but just Italian Anniversary Massacre or something. Like, play with what it is, play with the tone of it. It doesn't match the tone, which is
Yeah.
bonkers.
Yeah. Um, I totally agree that horror and comedy almost never mix successfully. I really can only think of Scream. Is there anything else that's worked?
Well, I grew up on certain ones like Saturday the 14th.
Okay, but
Uh
that's really more of a spoof, I think.
it is a spoof, and like, but they're all spoofs. Like Student Bodies is one that I was a fan of, that spoofs Halloween and Friday the 13th and all these others. But yeah, no, it, like I said, like it either puts the foot firmly down on the comedy pedal or the horror. But you're right, Scream walks that line well.
Scream is both. Is Evil Dead a comedy, do you think? Comedy horror? I
Yeah,
think
that's a
it's more
comedy
horror,
horror
but
that does
yeah,
it.
it's kind
But
of
again, they're both of those films are gory in a way this one isn't.
yeah, this is different. This is certainly no slasher film.
Right, right. It's an unintentional slasher. It's
Almost unintentional. So
um,
here's the thing. There is a point where one of the deaths is intentional, and that changes something for me anyway, with
you are
how I
going to be dead.
that there's no way. that, I mean, I knew exactly what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Didn't you think so?
Yes, but he had a knife in his hand.
He did.
He should have brought the phone out.
I know.
You know,
I
who
know.
doesn't do that? He just sees it and then he walks in with the knife. You are going to be dead.
But right.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to understand that they were not understanding him, which I kind of, question. Like, how could he not pick up on
You're
that?
making a good case for the title of the film.
I know. I
You
but
just said I do not understand twice. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but that's not the death that I'm talking about. It's the
Ooh.
old woman when she is, comes. You said
When
zombie.
when zombie Luciana
Yeah.
comes back?
Well, is it Andrew Reynolds or Nick Kroll who means to hit her with a shovel?
I
That's
think
on purpose. That's no accident.
yeah. Wasn't it Reynolds from the back with a
I
frying
think it
pan
was.
or something?
Yeah. Oh, it
Yeah.
wasn't a shovel. Well,
I
okay.
some she got hit, whatever
Hit
it
her.
was.
He hit her in the head on purpose. That changes the tone to me ever so slightly, and it changes
Yeah.
what I think, because everything up to that was an accident. Although you could never make a case with the law that all of there's too many coincidences.
Right. Well, you know what? Everything was an accident until one of them was being attacked, and then the other one. Uh, yeah, it's
Yes, that's true. But that was, that could be classified as self-defense.
kind of yeah.
But the other was not. He meant
Right.
because he thought that she said something insulting to him.
Right.
So, that's different.
There's all kinds of messages in this movie that I really like, and the main thing, I guess, and I think that's what they were hammering home with the title, is that it, if you can't communicate with people, just bad things happen. Like if you don't make the effort to learn someone else's language, and it's not restricted to literally their language, but to talk to somebody like a person and to share their culture and to buy into their way of life, bad things happen.
Yeah. Right. If you're visiting a country, you should make an effort.
Yeah, I think this film would have been a runaway hit like 20 years ago. But now, in the age of not just Duolingo and Rosetta Stone, but actual apps that will translate for you.
Right. Exactly. I don't even need an app on my new iPhone. I mean, it's there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
And I like too that they had some really crazy stuff, like the guy in the iron lung
Yeah.
and the ending with the guy in the iron lung talking to the police. Like the cops are like a great comedy bit all by themselves.
Right. And they have no idea.
No
It's just
idea.
all so usually misunderstandings is something I have a lot of trouble watching because it makes me so upset. But in this
Even Three's Company, Mr. Furley at the door. How do you not like that? Yeah,
but in this you need it and it's not upsetting. It's just fun because you're
yeah.
still rooting for these guys even though they're terrible.
How crazy is that? Like, I part of me was like, you know what? I'm not going to be upset if the last 5 minutes of this film is the two of them in a prison cell talking to their lawyer. You know,
Yeah.
that would have worked too. But it was very truthful the way it ended. It's like, yeah, because of America, because of where we are. We're like, there's so much horrendous shit going on in other countries and
Mhm.
terrible stuff, and some of it we're doing ourselves. And yet that's still like the eighth item on the news that we watch. And there's still home improvement shows, and there's still like, how to supercharge your summer. Like all of these things that we in America get fed that none of that ever touches us. So I was like, of course they're going to get away with it. Of course they're going to make it to their plane. It's not quite Argo, but it was
Yeah.
like kind of, yeah, they're going to
It
get on
was a
that plane.
chase in the airport,
Yeah,
a
which
very
was,
mysterious chase, but
yeah, yeah, it was handled well, I thought.
I don't know why they needed all, like they said, why they needed six people to chase them down.
I think also underlining, like with the police, that just, horrible things don't happen here. We don't need five guys to go catch murderers and rapists. We'll use those five guys to bring you your purse or your like lost luggage because, there's not a lot going on over here. So, they can't deal with this massacre.
If
It's,
only we had that here.
oh my God, I love that.
So it reminded me, the ending reminded me in a way, I mean, it's not direct, but of Crimes and Misdemeanors, the Woody Allen film
I love that film. It
too.
it does play with a lot of the same stuff. If you can get away with it,
Right. Then
how
you don't
would you?
got it. Right. There's no point in feeling guilty and there's no point, right? Because you're
Yeah,
not punished. That was
yeah.
the whole question. Does God punish? And,
The end of this film is almost kind of like an open-ended kind of ellipses for these guys' future, because they're talking about adopting again.
right.
And I'm just wondering what the body count will end up being for
Yeah.
this new kid.
Right.
At the end of it, I love things that like make you question yourself as an audience, because uh, I'm like, oh, that's great. They got away. Oh, these are people that are going to raise a human being
Right.
and
And
instill
what
values in them.
exactly. That well, I did think that because, they don't care that they took,
Yeah.
this group of people. Um, a lot of it was accidental, but even still, there's no therapy for it. There's no well, they
There's
did say they have to call their therapist, didn't they, at the
right,
end?
right. They do, but it's played for laughs
Okay,
like
okay.
anything else.
They're right, right. They're fine.
But you feel also that there's not like they immediately, if one starts saying like, what, maybe we just tell them it was an accident, the other one immediately shuts it down. They don't take ownership of what they did, and
Right,
that's why things snowball. And if they
right.
had just and
Stop.
I
Yeah.
yeah, just stop. If they stopped at Zia Luciana, whatever, instead of putting her on the table and starting all the madness, you're like, oh, she fell. Okay, people fall. We'll put her in bed, and then you and I will hitchhike back. We'll get,
Get
I'm
it?
like,
Yeah.
everything would have been fine.
Right.
I was just going to say, we're talking like, yeah, they get away with it. They don't quite get away with it. His godfather takes the fall. His dad's best friend, the Italian guy, who booked their dinner there,
It
and
was
who
so fun,
actually, yeah, who like left messages on this woman's thing of like, hey, I want you to,
and it made
he,
it worse
yeah,
because they don't care,
they don't
because
care.
they're okay.
I can't imagine they won't have to get called in or get extradited for the trial, because he's going to be like, I wasn't there. I booked it for them.
I don't know.
So
I bet. I
I
mean,
don't
this
know.
later, this kid is not a baby.
Right. You think we'll get a sequel? You
We
think we'll
could.
get an Omen 2 kind of deal?
I hope not. I think as much as I really, really liked it, one is enough. I mean, how much could
Right.
we the same thing again?
Exactly. And that's what I liked about this, is that it wasn't like, a sequel of some other crap. It was an original idea.
Yes, like Final Destination, the original was fine. It was a new idea, but we're like
Yeah.
8 in,
Yeah.
and they're all the same.
Yeah, you get diminished returns.
Yeah, I actually did like the latest Final Destination. I thought that was kind of fun, but
Oh,
still,
really?
yeah, but they're
Mm,
all pretty much the same exact thing.
okay. There was one character, the like angry farmer,
Okay, yeah.
who like they think he's with Triple A,
Yeah.
and actually he's just a farmer. He's like, you're on my land. That again, kind of, they kept hammering home the lack of communication,
Yeah.
and the way that the word queers is like bandied about throughout, and some people use it as like almost not quite a term of endearment, but just as oh, you're the queer couple, or you're the like happy anniversary, like
Right, it's not a negative
it's
necessarily for
not a
many
negative
people.
necessarily. And
We grew
but
up with it being a negative term, so it's different for us.
we did, yeah. And that's one of the things I really liked about this film was they're just a couple. They're a couple trying to have a baby. They didn't hammer home any kind of like gay jokes, or like make them and their lifestyle a kind of joke, or
Yeah, right. What do you think about Nick Kroll playing this gay man? I mean, because that's a big question now. Does it
I,
have to be the real thing?
I had reservations about it, but if I have to listen to Jude Law's fake non-regional American accent in every film, I I guess I'm fine with this. I mean, that's what actors do, and people
Well,
should be allowed to stretch.
I think so.
Um,
too. And I also think that, you have Andrew Reynolds, who is openly gay, so
Right.
he's okay with it.
I said that to myself. I'm like, if Andrew Reynolds is okay with it, who am I to say anything? And uh, I liked Nick Kroll in this more than I've liked him in anything.
Me too. I thought he was great. And, part of what was great about it is that it didn't matter because he was just playing him as a man. It didn't, sexuality wasn't the first thing that you saw when you saw this character.
Yes, yes. And I like that they were two distinct characters. Andrew Reynolds as Cole, half the time I was like, why are you being such a dick? When one character is trying to make the best of stuff and the other one is just shitting on, and I was like pissed. And then I was like, it's typical. It's real.
Right.
Like when you can't go on a trip to another country and have both characters like, oh my God, like one, and maybe it's you, maybe it's your partner, one of you is always going to have a bad day and be like, this is bullshit. But
Unfortunately, because that is such a drag. Oh my
it
God. I'm a
is.
positive one. So it's,
Yeah, me too. All right, you and me will go
we'll have
somewhere.
to travel together. Yeah.
But Morgan Spector, I just want to put him to bed, so to speak. His character is introduced, and when he first comes in, he's almost like this hulking beast who like demands car keys. He's like, your keys,
Yeah.
and he like just had sex with his fiance. Apparently, that's why he was late. We later meet her. She adds to the body count, but like he was such a pleasant surprise because you think, all right, he's going to be the big scary guy, and
He's
instead
right.
he's almost tearful about how sweet they were to his mother when she heard that this couple was coming all the way from America. It filled her with, you're not leaving until you drink grappa with me. Like
Yeah. And he was
it's
so happy for them to be, becoming dads, which was his downfall.
God, yeah,
Yeah, he was completely sweet, but they positioned him as the scary character, which, that happens
right,
in life too sometimes. You expect someone to be one thing and they're not.
yeah. We talked a little bit, I think it was last time out, about the problem that cell phones create in movies today.
Right?
And I think they handled this pretty well. Reynolds' character left his in the car, and Kroll's was dying, so he had Ms. Luciana charge it.
Right.
And then, of course, she didn't charge it right, so it was still dead. And the
Right.
generator goes out in the house, and so
So
they kind of did a good job of isolating them.
they did. But you would think that maybe they could go to the next house and knock on a door and say, he fell down the stairs, because that was
Yeah.
truly an accident, her fall.
I seem to remember Andrew Reynolds knocking her down because the lights went off.
It was pitch black, so he didn't know that she was there.
He still knocked her down.
Dude, well, I
What
mean,
the fuck is he doing walking around with the lights out?
I don't know. Oh
I I cringe for the baby that these two are raising.
my god.
Maybe they'll do a good job as long as they don't leave the country, but I feel bad for other little kids that play with their kid. Like these guys are overprotective,
Right. And selfish.
very selfish.
And what did you think of the fact that they named their baby for the brother of Morgan Spector's character? That's
That, that's the
good.
sweetest part of them. That's the best part of them. And also, they have some nerve.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, they should change the baby's last name because that's the only way that family name is going to continue
Yeah,
after
well,
they massacred them.
they're not doing that. But do you think
Yeah.
they figured, well, we named the baby after him, so that's enough penance for us?
Yes, they are great rationalizers of their own dysfunction.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's their taking responsibility. That's it.
right,
Done.
right. I also didn't like. I understand Amanda Seyfried's character was like giving them the baby, but every time they talked to her when they went to see her in the hospital, and I kind of wanted the three of them to raise the baby together. I didn't understand, like she was giving it up, but uh, she seemed to really want to be invested in the kid or whatever. So
But she did seem pretty set that she wasn't going to be. She said, "It's your baby."
Right. Yeah.
She did seem connected, but she had just given birth, and I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But she did make it clear that she was out, I thought.
Hmm.
Otherwise, why wouldn't she just keep the baby?
Yeah. I wanted her a little more fleshed out, I guess, but it wasn't her movie. What did you think of Zia Luciana and that whole my home is a restaurant thing? And would that be something that you, if you traveled through Italy and you were like, oh, really? And she runs it out of her house, that you'd be like, we got to go? Or are you like, yeah, it's a little weird?
So, I would think it was weird. But if a family member suggested it and said, "No, it's amazing," then I might go. That would
Mm,
change things for me. But did
yeah.
they even know? They didn't know that it was going to be from her house.
They had no idea about any of it
Yeah.
until they're like, uh, until Dom's godfather, his dad's best friend, like hooked it up and
Right.
forced them pretty much to go there, rented them a
They
car and
had
everything.
they had no idea what kind of a building they were looking for a regular restaurant like we would
Right.
expect.
Right.
They had no idea. You
Yeah.
might wanna give them a heads up, it's a house. It's bad judgment maybe to not tell them.
Yeah. And he had
But
to lie
yeah,
to get her to reopen, and so they're big fans of yours. They're, you
right.
know,
They
not
didn't know.
cool.
But the most fortuitous accident in this whole movie was spelling Cole's name wrong on the knife.
Cool.
Cool, yeah, because then there was no trace to him at all.
Yeah, that was a happy accident. It's a film of happy and unhappy accidents.
Yeah, mostly unhappy,
Mostly unhappy. Yeah.
catastrophic accidents.
Yeah. Terrible.
But, I think it's not supposed to be, all that realistic, which I have no problem with, it's
Yeah.
you have to suspend some disbelief.
Right. And if it's treated gravely and it's not treated so flippantly, it would be a very sad movie.
Exactly, it would be a tragedy.
Yeah. So go into it knowing it's kind of farcical and a bit of a romp, and
That's
you're
right.
going to really enjoy it.
They're fun to watch, Nick Kroll and Andrew Reynolds.
Yeah, they were a good team. They really
Yeah,
were. And when I think about it now, I'm just thinking like how whether it's Andrew Reynolds and who is the
from Book of Mormon, Josh
yeah,
Gad.
Book of Mormons. Like I think of them as a team, and I think of Nick Kroll and John Mulaney as a team. Like these are guys that are good at working in two,
Yeah,
so they were really firing on all cylinders.
they were. So do you think that there is an overall message in this movie, or do you think it's just fun?
I thought there were a couple of overarching messages, and like one of which that I touched on is just I think there's this sense of entitlement that Americans feel in general
Mhm.
that is skewered here, and a very real sense that you can get away with anything, and especially in the times we're living in now.
Right,
It,
the 2
it
white men, privileged white men.
yes, that they can get away with anything, and they do.
Yeah,
And it's scary times for anybody who isn't that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think so completely. I think it's a bit of a cautionary tale in this
Hmm.
ridiculous way.
And it was good making them gay, because if it was a straight male female couple or something, it would almost come across as like traditional American family bashing or something. But instead, this is just talking about parents. This is talking about Americans. This is talking about like, you know, eh, I don't know. I think something about making them a gay couple, in addition to it being forward thinking and really cool that they did that, I think it also takes a few things off the table where it's like,
Yeah,
no, 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 we're just talking about how fucked up Americans are. And, I liked it.
yeah. Right. And also it adds a layer that these are people who have, suffered, so maybe they should be a little more sensitive, and they're not.
And they're not, you're right. You're absolutely right. Well, they can be very reactionary the
Mhm.
second they hear or more often mishear something that they think is prejudicial towards them. The old lady, Zia Luciana, she was very open and loving towards them and was like, oh, what a beautiful couple. It's a happy anniversary. But the second that she pours the wine and she's like, oh, this is the wrong wine with the meal, like it coincides with them kissing.
Right.
And they're like, did you see what she did? Yep, I sure did.
Yes, and that
You didn't see what you thought you saw.
and I also wonder if because their characters are, I guess they're in their 30s, would you say?
That's being kind.
Okay.
They're probably 40s, but yeah,
Oh,
they play
well, then I
30s.
don't know. Because there is
Yeah.
a generation of gay men who are so fortunate to have grown up in a time. I mean, it's changing now, unfortunately, but they grew up with, a lot of rights and not having to fight as much as other generations. So I wonder
All the
if that's
post Stonewall
exactly.
generations. Yeah.
Yeah, and even post, AIDS.
Mm,
Not that it's gone, it's not gone, but, the early days when it was, when no one knew what was going on, where it was a lot
yeah.
scarier.
Oh, absolutely. This city, New York, specifically Manhattan, still has not recovered from the AIDS crisis, from the vacuum it left behind culturally and artistically, musically, in every way. It
Yeah.
just, that's why it is what it is today. That's why the types of people that are living here now are living here now, is
Yeah.
because all of the magic of New York, a lot of it was just destroyed by the AIDS crisis.
Right, and I hope that people still realize it still should be terrifying because, I know that there are medications now, and that's amazing. I can't believe we don't have a vaccine at this point. I mean, look how fast we got a COVID vaccine. But it's still a big issue. And you're right, there's a generation that isn't here that should be here.
Yeah, and those, we think about those people all being here or not being here, but if they had adopted like these couples, and then their kids would have kids, and then like there would be generations after them from these people that were missing.
Right.
So it would still be a much cooler place and a lot more accepting of a place,
Right.
especially with so many children of gay people and lesbian people and whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. I
And
mean, the
that's why we're happy they got away.
okay, I'll go with that. I'm not sure that these 2 are quite what the generation that we're talking
No,
about.
no, they're just stepping on the backs of all of these people we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
these are
yeah,
very entitled people, for sure.
yeah,
But they love
um,
their baby.
yeah, yeah. Hey, Hitler had a dog.
Oh, all right. I think we're
All
going a
right.
little far now.
On that note, I'm sorry. Why don't we end it there? Is there anything else you wanted to talk about this movie?
Well, not this movie, but, what did you think of the Emmys?
Fill me in. Give me the broad strokes.
Well, Adolescence was a big winner.
I was shocked. Are you happy when a British drama? I mean,
It's a
I guess the Emmys are international, but do you know what I'm getting at? Like,
I do. It doesn't bother me. I think
it
it's okay.
doesn't. Okay.
Because I think it was so well done and so different, innovative. Yeah, I think that's okay. That doesn't bother me. I
Okay.
understand the point, but I think
Does it bother some people? Like, I'm just
yeah.
curious.
I
It
know it bothers
does.
some people when British actors come and take roles from American
Mm,
actors. But again,
yeah.
the film community is international. Imagine if we could only have American actors in every single role. How boring would that be?
Right. Americans routinely win BAFTAs and things.
They do. I think it's okay. It doesn't bother me at all,
Okay.
especially when the work is so deserving. But
Right.
The Pit was a big winner. I love The Pit.
I saw that. And who's that lead uh woman, the blonde woman?
Catherine Lanasa.
I like her. I liked her ever since her cameo on Seinfeld. She had like a tiny role as a policewoman that Jerry was dating, and then
I
later she tied him to a lie detector. That was
Oh,
it.
Melrose Place, right? To see if he watched Melrose Place?
Yes, exactly
Well,
right.
that's oh my god, you're blowing my mind because her husband is Grant Show.
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that
And
wild?
that was the biggest surprise of the night to me that her husband was Grant Show. I had no idea.
I had no idea.
I do know that her first husband was Dennis Hopper. It seems like a very wide range to go from Dennis Hopper to Grant Show.
I did know that. Yeah, like 3 years or something. I'm looking up Emmy winners so I can talk with you with some sort of intelligence.
So
Uh,
Nate Bargatze was the host, and I didn't like what he did with it. I didn't think it was well written. I didn't think he was funny, but he did a bit that went throughout the whole show where if people kept their speeches under a certain amount of time, the Boys and Girls Club would get a certain amount of money. And
I heard
it felt like he turned the whole show into a telethon for the Boys and Girls Club. And I really didn't like that.
it's stupid too, because all of the time he ate up with that is time that they should give to people's speeches. Like, I don't want speeches cut short so that you can do some recurring bit about how
No,
the speeches are running long. And
exactly.
and to make slight of it, like you're going to take away from a, it's a one note joke. You're going to take away from a charity if they're like,
Right. And then, of course, it was way down. People, still gave speeches. And so they
mhm.
actually owed money to the Boys and Girls Club. But of course, they still donated the money that they promised
Yeah.
at the beginning. So what's the point?
So why do it exactly?
And then on top of that, he brought out the brilliant JB Smoove. I love him. And he spent time talking about the Boys and Girls Club too. So it was like, it ate up so much of the show. And it wasn't funny.
None of these things that they do on the award shows are funny. You occasionally get like, even if you have someone who's great, like a Neil Patrick Harris, it's very hard to write an award show.
The worst part for me isn't even the host; it's the banter between the presenters.
The things they write for these people to present.
Awful. The only one I thought this year that was very successful was Ray Romano and Brad Garrett, who presented together, and I have to believe that they wrote that themselves.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
And they were actually funny, and that was for me the high point. Besides the awards that I was happy that people won.
Right.
High point of the show.
Do you think the Late Show with Stephen Colbert won? Was the decision made before or after the show was pulled? Do you think it was kind of a like
I
FU
Yes.
award? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's undeserving. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch the late night shows. I'm just not a fan
Yeah.
of the platform. But yes, I think it was very much a statement that, we don't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that was, of course, before Jimmy Kimmel was pulled from the air.
The corporations call all the shots and there's no checks and balances. The news you see is the news you see because the last time they did a story on it, it got the most clicks.
Yeah.
They're not covering things because you need to see this. They're covering things because we think people will click on this.
Yeah. The news used to be, I mean, decades ago, it didn't have to make money. So then it was, I think Reagan maybe came in and changed that, and now they make money from the news. I know that people look back so kindly on Reagan and his presidency, but I certainly do not. That
Mm-mm.
plus how he handled the AIDS crisis.
He gave us a lot of great punk music, though.
Yeah, well, yes,
But he had very little to do with that. The only reason I liked Reagan at the time was because we got government cheese under Reagan. My family was poor enough that we got this big block of cheese.
only cheese, like not other foods.
No, just cheese.
Why cheese? Is cheese such an important
I
part of
think
people's diet?
I think they discovered the government just claimed that good cheese was important uh, calcium and it would fill you up and it would whatever, but it was like hard to cut. It
Really?
tasted weird. It was
Of
yeah.
course, of course. They're not going to give away anything that they
No,
value.
no, they're not. Your girl, Kristen Milotti for the
Yeah,
Penguin.
yeah.
Do you watch the Penguin?
I haven't watched it yet,
I
but
haven't either.
I also do this Broadway podcast, and
Hmm.
we had Deidre O'Connell on, who was nominated for the Penguin, and she's incredible in
Mm.
everything she's in. But also Kristen Milioti, who was so good on Black Mirror. Did you watch Black Mirror?
Yes, yes. We did an episode on it, so I
Oh, that's
watched
right.
for that
That's right.
one.
Yeah. Gosh,
Maybe
you've
you
done
should
it.
watch it.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, she was in the kind of sci-fi ones.
Yes, the two
Yeah.
Star Trek episodes. Star
Hmm.
Trek
Right.
episode.
Right.
She's great. So, and I hear that she is really fantastic. So I have to watch Penguin. I just haven't yet. Have you watched it?
I haven't because I'm not a big. Who's the Irish guy underneath all that makeup?
Farrell.
Colin Farrell. I'm not a big Colin Farrell guy.
Okay. Did you
Uh,
see Banshees of Inisherin?
no.
You might change your mind if you see that.
Really?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. I watched on your recommendation. I watched several episodes of The Pit, but
Have you?
Noah Wiley.
He's great.
He won.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't really know the other. I mean, Sterling K. Brown was up opposite him for Paradise. You and I both enjoyed
I
Paradise.
like Paradise, but I don't think it's a better show than The Pit.
Well, but is Sterling K. Brown's performance better than Noah Wiley's performance?
Well, so here's where it's so subjective. I just think that Noah Wiley's character is better written, so I think he has more to work with. I mean, Sterling
Mm,
K. Brown is a solid, great actor.
yeah.
So
He also carries Paradise, though.
he does. He
It's his
does. Noah
show.
Wiley doesn't have to carry
Yeah,
it in
it's
a way that Sterling,
ensemble.
I mean, if either one of them won, I'd be thrilled. So,
Right.
I as much as I love award shows and the Tonys and, I could never really subscribe to the fact that acting is competitive because it's not.
You're right. We could do a whole hour just talking about how absurd it is to give out awards for art.
Right, because it's subjective. It's just how it hits you because of your life experience and, how you connect to something.
People are very seldom appreciated during their lifetime,
Or
yet yet
right,
alone during their year that they're doing one of these things.
right.
So
And look how many movies were not awarded that are classics. And the ones, like Crash is the most famous example of a film that won the Oscar for Best Picture that probably shouldn't have.
yeah, looking back, it's rough.
So,
Uh,
I mean, all of these wins are financial, really, and they don't
yeah,
mean anything artistically. I think the nomination is the real honor.
yeah. So it's good they're nominating more of them.
Yeah. Although I, I have such a competitive spirit that, like, I don't like that there are 10 Best Picture nominees because I think it just dilutes the pool. I don't like it.
It does, and that means that you're not giving an award to more of them.
Right. That's right.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, these are all so great,
Yeah.
and
I don't
like, but I guess you're not so great. Like, and is there a big difference between the 10th film nominated and the 11th and 12th that don't make it? Like, why have
know.
that many?
Right.
Yeah.
And just that one category, it's too many for me to keep track of. There was a
Mm.
point in my life where I cared very much about seeing all the nominated films. But once there were 10, I'm not, life is too short. I'm not doing that. It's too much.
Yeah, it's true. Last year or earlier this year, I forget when, was the first time that I was like, oh my God, I've seen five of the films that are nominated, like the Honora year, whenever that was. I saw, most of them. I surprised myself. Like I pushed myself to see like two extras just so I could have a hearty helping of them. But it was such a chore. I can't do that every year.
It is hard. And they also, it's like there's a type of film that gets nominated and it's so unfair. And comedy gets pushed out of that all the time. And, I think that they should have a wider scope of what makes an Oscar worthy film. It doesn't always have to be, this sweeping drama or this
Right.
indie drama or, just drama.
Just
I
drama. Yeah.
a horror film sneaks in or a great comedy or any,
Hmm.
it shouldn't be one kind of film.
Very true. It won't be nominated for anything, but if it were, I wonder where they'd stick. I don't understand you in the categories.
Yes, it'd have to be comedy. It could be up for some Emmys. We don't know.
It could be.
Golden
It'd be opposite the Bear, whatever they decide to put that in this year.
I know. I mean, that's always in the comedy category.
Ridiculous.
And that doesn't make sense. I don't know.
No.
And then, like, again, I think I may have said this before, but The Wonder Years was always considered a comedy because it was a half hour, but it was no comedy. It wasn't a sitcom. It just followed the sitcom format.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
hour. That's it.
Right.
So I don't know. But there's no
Uh,
TV anymore. There's like a handful of shows.
I would say it's a dying art. It's a dead art. Anything now is just kind of like a retro homage, really. they just don't make shows the same way anymore.
Are there any network shows that you still watch? Because I have a few that I love.
Nothing comes to mind. What are the ones you watch that you love?
I love Elsbeth.
Elsbeth. Oh my God. I just applied to be an extra on
You did?
Elsbeth. Yes. You know me, I'm a big fan of Columbo. I
Yes.
like the how's he going to catch him rather than the who done it. And
Yes.
I try to be a feminist ally. So this show I've been waiting for my whole life.
Oh my gosh, I love Elsbeth. I
Yeah.
love Abbott Elementary. I think that's super fun.
I did that web show Teachers Lounge,
It,
trying to get out there. And so I have a thing about Abbott
I
Elementary. I
get
just
it.
don't want to,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I love the new Matlock. It's so good.
Oh, with Kathy Bates?
Great. And the show is so smart because
I
it's not,
loved Matlock.
but this has nothing to do with that show.
No, I'm
She,
looking forward to seeing how it's different. I'm just
yeah,
saying,
watch
like, I'm already starting from a place where I'm like, Matlock, sign me up.
I know. And
Yeah.
she's great. And it's kind of suspenseful too, which I never expected. And yeah,
Oh, cool.
so watch it. It's fun.
Okay, I will. I didn't realize that was a network show.
Yes, I think it's CBS.
Okay, it's hard to see anymore in this age of streaming, like what goes through the proper channels and what doesn't.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
Well, because, we're not all watching together anymore. There's no TV schedule. You just watch when you watch it. So it's very
right.
different.
My wife and I are having Redford Fest because Robert Redford passed away. We're just watching all of our movies. And like, in addition to our DVDs and Blu-rays, we're watching streaming stuff of films of his we didn't see before. And there was one that I never saw before from the 90s. And it's him and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh,
And they work in a newsroom. And she's like this up and coming kind of on air personality. And the two of them have this great romance.
I saw
And
this.
it's bizarre. Written by Joan Didion.
What? Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and her husband at the time, or her husband. And yeah, it's fascinating. I forget the name of it, but if you
I
search
think
for
I
that,
saw it back then. I'm
yeah,
sure.
it just goes to show you like the shows that make an impression. There was this one guy who popped up like as a network exec, and I'm like, where do I know that guy from? How do I know that guy? And then I'm like, oh yeah, he played Stephen Keaton's brother on Family Ties.
Oh,
They
wow.
grew up together. It's like a flashback episode. We see them when they were young, and then we see them. But yeah, these shows that like Family Ties is on an all-time list. That was a network show that I loved back in the day.
The network
Yeah,
really lasted a very long time and just streaming killed it. To watch a whole season at once. I do love that.
you do like that, yeah. But you could do that if you own the DVDs or the Blu-rays, you
Oh,
know.
once I buy media, I'll never watch it. It'll just sit.
Uh,
So I don't buy it.
How are you one of those people?
I don't know.
I don't
I
understand you.
I know. I would love to remind you. I know. I just like to catch something on, or I don't know why. I don't get up and I don't
I
even have a DVD player.
I think I think it's this false sense of immediacy that
Maybe
something streaming gives you. It's tied in with this FOMO and this kind of like thing, but their collection will never be as great as your collection if you build one.
you're so right. But I
Yeah.
mean, this goes way back for me. I remember loving the movie Moulin Rouge, so I bought it, and that was the
You
last
know.
time. Unless it was on TV, and I would. I don't know. Maybe it's just some
Wow.
form of laziness that I don't want to go up to the shelf and
I get
get.
it.
I don't know.
Wow. Now we're into motivations of human behavior. We're into a
Uh,
whole psychological thing.
I hope you're not going to see me differently from now on.
I like all of you. I'll see more of you.
All right. I hope we can.
Well,
catch
shit. We covered a lot of ground.
it. Did we even talk about a film?
I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't,
I'll
I
put this
don't
together and see what happens.
understand.
This should be a fun one.
So much fun.
Uh,